The United States has issued a fresh warning to Americans living and traveling abroad, as fears grow that Iran could retaliate beyond the Middle East amid rising regional tensions. After striking U.S. troops, could forces aligned with Mojtaba Khamenei now expand their focus to overseas Americans, raising fears of a wider security threat? Claims of a soft coup are shaking Iran at a time of mounting uncertainty, even as the United States issues a global security warning for its citizens worldwide. Is the Iran conflict beginning to spill beyond the battlefield, with Americans across the globe being urged to stay alert as fears of retaliation continue to grow? As Iran conflict continues to intensify, the United States has issued a worldwide travel caution for American citizens, citing growing security concerns and the possibility of disruptions affecting international travel. In a travel alert issued on July 18th, the U.S. State Department warned that the global security environment has become increasingly complex, urging Americans to remain vigilant while traveling overseas. Washington said that groups aligned with or supportive of Iran could potentially target U.S. interests or locations associated with American citizens in different parts of the world. The State Department has advised Americans traveling or living abroad to closely monitor local news, remain alert to changing conditions, and follow updates issued by nearby U.S. embassies and consulates. The advisory also warns that flight cancellations, airspace closures, and other transportation disruptions could affect international travel plans as tensions continue to rise. The alert notes that U.S. diplomatic facilities, including embassies and consulates outside the Middle East, have been targeted during previous periods of heightened regional tensions. Despite issuing the global travel caution, Washington has not ordered American citizens to evacuate any specific country, instead encouraging travelers to stay informed and follow official guidance as the situation develops. The U.S. State Department statement read, and I quote, "Worldwide caution. Due to heightened tensions in the Middle East, the security environment remains complex with the potential for unforeseen escalation. We remind Americans in the region of the continued need for caution and encourage them to monitor the news for breaking developments." The Department of State advises Americans worldwide, and especially in the Middle East, to exercise increased caution. Americans abroad should follow the guidance in security alerts issued by the nearest U.S. embassy or consulate. Flight cancellations and periodic airspace closures may cause travel disruptions. U.S. diplomatic facilities, including outside the Middle East, have been targeted. Groups supportive of Iran may target other U.S. interests overseas or locations associated with the United States and/or Americans throughout the world. Unquote. The warning followed a U.S. claim that an Iranian strike in Jordan killed 2 American service members, marking another deadly escalation amid the widening regional conflict. The U.S. military also reported that another American service member remains missing following the attack, as search and recovery efforts continue to determine the individual's whereabouts. Meanwhile, 4 American troops were medically evacuated to hospitals in Jordan after sustaining injuries in the strike, where they are receiving treatment and further medical evaluation. U.S. Central Command claimed it carried out another round of strikes across Iran on July 18th as the conflict continued to escalate. According to CENTCOM, the operation marked the 8th consecutive night of U.S. attacks ordered by President Donald Trump. The U.S. military said the strikes targeted Iranian coastal surveillance systems, air defense facilities, maritime military assets, and missile and drone storage sites. U.S. Central Command statement said, and I quote, "U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, completed another round of strikes against Iran on July 18th at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, at the Commander-in-Chief's direction." During the 8th consecutive night of U.S. strikes, CENTCOM forces successfully hit Iranian military coastal surveillance and air defense facilities, maritime capabilities, and missile and drone storage sites to continue degrading Iranian military capabilities. American military assets also targeted Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps forces that launched attacks against U.S. service members in Jordan on July 17th. More than 50,000 U.S. men and women in uniform operating across the Middle East. They remain highly vigilant, focused, lethal, and ready. Unquote. Meanwhile, Iranian state media reported that multiple explosions were heard across the southern port city of Bandar Abbas on July 19th. Residents in several parts of Bandar Abbas said they heard repeated blasts during the latest wave of reported strikes. Iran's Tasnim news agency also reported that residents on Keshem Island heard multiple explosions from different locations across the island. Residents told Tasnim that between 3 and 5 missiles struck separate areas on Keshem Island during the reported attack. Tasnim later reported that at least 6 missiles had struck areas near Iran's strategically important Qeshm Island. Iran has reportedly modified its missile arsenal to better challenge U.S. air and missile defense networks, according to the Wall Street Journal. Officials told the newspaper that Tehran used high-speed missiles capable of maneuvering during the final phase of their descent. U.S. officials said the adaptations helped Iran place greater pressure on sensitive American military targets across the region. Washington remains concerned as Iran continues missile and drone strikes against U.S. positions in the Middle East. Meanwhile, U.S. Central Command said American forces launched a fresh round of airstrikes against military targets inside Iran. The U.S. military said the operation targeted capabilities used to threaten commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM also said the strikes hit IRGC-linked elements allegedly involved in attacks against U.S. troops stationed in Jordan. According to the Pentagon, the latest operation was carried out under orders from President Donald Trump. Trump described the deaths of 2 U.S. service members in recent Iranian attacks as very sad. The U.S. president also said he couldn't care less if Iran chose to abandon the Memorandum of Understanding. Iran has officially suspended the fragile Memorandum of Understanding with the United States, dramatically escalating an already explosive confrontation. On July 18, Iran's deputy foreign minister announced that Tehran was suspending every commitment it had undertaken under the Memorandum of Understanding. Iran accused the United States of repeatedly violating the agreement, arguing Washington's actions had effectively rendered the entire deal meaningless. The deputy foreign minister declared that Tehran's sole priority had now shifted completely toward national defense and military retaliation. Kazem Garibabadi made the announcement during an interview with Iranian state media, outlining Tehran's latest position on the escalating crisis. Garibabadi accused Donald Trump of deliberately sabotaging diplomatic efforts through what he described as continuous aggressive military actions. Iran further asserted that Washington abandoned its obligations first, leaving Tehran with no option but to suspend its own commitments. The Iran deputy foreign minister said, and I quote, "The U.S. has violated and suspended all its commitments within the framework of the Islamabad MOU. None of those commitments are currently being implemented. We have also suspended our commitments, we are not implementing them, and we are busy defending the country." End quote.